Greetings, my friends. Special good evening to all our viewers on Caribbean American News Media platform. We are on the air. Just let me get my document here. We are on the air. We are live on the air. Please share the platform with your friends and your families. Let them know that, let the folks know that we're on. We're here to keep your company. We have some developments coming out of St. Vincent and the Grenadines, and we would like to share them with you. Just bear with me, folks. I'm trying to get my documents here. The reason why we were so long on on getting in with the intro is that I was having my dinner right at the desk because I after the program I didn't get to rest. I went to get some lamb for my daughter. She liked lamb. She wanted me to cook lamb for her most of the time, so I did go to get the lamb, season it and everything else, and stir it up for her. And so that's how I spent my day, and going through a lot of telephone calls, messages, individuals wanting to know what is going on, what in the world is going on. But again, we want to welcome you to the Caribbean American News platform. To those of you who are viewing us via Facebook or over there on our YouTube channel, we want to welcome you to this platform. Tonight we're going to have some serious discussions. I do apologize. We're going to have some discussions that are necessary. We also want to listen to Prime Minister of St. Vincent and the Grenadines. Okay, brethren, we have some breaking developments out of St. Vincent. But before we go there, before we go to St. Vincent, I really want you to share the platform. Share the platform with your friends. We have been here with you from the beginning of the storm, and we're very happy. I've had sleepless nights, and so it is all in the works, you know. It is all in the commitment to you, the people out there. So, Hurricane Beryl is not playing around, or was not playing around. Still not playing around. Hurricane Beryl have caused a lot of damage, and I would add death. Yes, I said death. A lot of destruction throughout the region. Hurricane Beryl, friends, right now has picked up speed to 155 miles per hour. Hurricane Beryl have confused the experts, and it is rushing. It is moving forward with rapido speed. And the experts are saying to us that this storm is a well-formed storm, well-balanced. And so it is not playing around, friends. I want to say to you, St. Lucians, in spite of the damage in your country, you need to give God a day of praise and thanksgiving for sparing that country. Because I am telling you, St. Lucia could not have withstood such a magnitude hurricane. I'm going to say it again for those of you who are taking life for granted. God knows best. You, my fellow St. Lucian, should be very happy, and you should be thanking Almighty God for sparing that country. Castries is flooded, and Castries and St. Lucia did not receive a major beating really from that hurricane. You have not experienced the Category 4 intensity of this hurricane. Your city is flooded. There are a lot of communities that are in a mess right now. Are you listening to me? Think about it. With just the tail, just the outer bands and the effects of this hurricane, you have all these situations going on in your country. Think about it, and it's always wise to look back. Think about, folks, a category 4, like what just beat down St. Vincent, mainly the Grenadines and Carriacou and Grenada. Think about that hurricane passing over your country, and your shelters are closed, and you're asked to shelter in place. Think about it, St. Lucians. Think about it, and you better give God some praise. And you better take time out to have a national day of prayer and thanksgiving. Not carnival, a national day of prayer and thanksgiving to Almighty God for sparing your life. I have some breaking, developing news that is very sad coming out of St. Vincent. Ralph Gonsalves addressed the nation earlier this evening. And folks, it is not good in St. Vincent. It is not a good scene in the Grenadines or Carriacou. It is not a good scene in Grenada. It is not. These country and islands took a major beating from this country. Ralph Gonsalves is reporting death in his country. Airports have been, the roofs are gone. That's not on the mainland, in the smaller islands. We're going to listen to Ralph Gonsalves as he addressed his people moments ago.
Borders with
Just bear with us. The stream is reconnecting. It was brought into the system a little earlier this evening, and so bear with us. Let us just wait for that signal. Let's secure the signal first, and then we will bring it over to you. All right. Signal is rebooted, and we're going to enter it into the system now. Stay tuned, Ralph Gonsalves.
the very dangerous and destructive Hurricane Beryl has come and has gone. Oh, sorry, you want me? I'm going live? I'm sorry. Hurricane Beryl, dangerous, devastating hurricane, has come and has gone. And it has left in its wake immense destruction, pain, suffering across our nation at this hour. The faces of men and women are strained and anxious. Hundreds of families on.
Just bear with us, folks. We will get that signal back up.
Union Island.
Bear with us. We're just going to expand so that you can see Ralph. Just bear with us. We're going to get this corrected. We do apologize. So now we take you over to Ralph.
Reports that I have received indicate that 90% of the houses have been severely damaged or destroyed. Their roofs, structures. The Union Island Airport's roof is gone. It's no more. We have not received the extent of preliminary reports out of Mairo and Canawan as we have done for Union Island through a quirk of communication. But we expect that in those areas there's a similar condition. In Bequia, we have had damage, but not to the extent as in the southern Grenadines. And sadly, it has been reported to Nemo. We do not as yet know all the details that one person died. There may well be more fatalities. We are not yet sure. Given the fact that I'm reporting to you a few hours after the devastation wrought upon this land, the report is necessarily provisional. But it is important that I speak to you. There are hundreds of houses on St. Vincent which have been severely damaged or destroyed. Roofs are gone. Government buildings, especially schools. There are at least 2 denominational schools, schools belonging to churches, where you have had severe damage. And of course, there are churches. I've been advised, for instance, that the Kingston Baptist Church had its roof severely damaged. We are at a point where we have to work together to rebuild. And we have to start urgently. We are going to reopen tomorrow government facilities. I'm asking the business places to open. Having said that, we in the government, and surely too in the business sector, we have to rely on the sense of responsibility and essentially people's good inclinations and their obligations to help them to determine whether they come to work tomorrow or not. Let's face it, if you have lost your roof, you don't have electricity, and there's still the island-wide blackout on the electricity, and I'll come to that shortly. There are a few communities which do not have water because of the system having been blocked in the case of Oya, or cut off in the case of, say, the McCarthy Southwood area or Choppins. And you are not going to be reasonably in a position to require, much less to demand, those persons to come to work. Some of them, out of a sense of loyalty to their business and to their jobs, will come. But I'm asking that we restart the reconstruction process tomorrow. Indeed, tonight at 8:30, I'm having a small group from the National Emergency Management Organization, where we are going to look at some specific matters. We have to begin the assessment of the physical situation, the buildings, the river defenses, the sea defenses, what is happening there. We have to look at the overall damage and loss, and that will take some time to make the assessment, but we have to put things in place. I don't want tomorrow morning to start where we do not have the beginnings of those systems for assessment and for work to be done, and for the commencement, for the mobilization of resources. The head of Finlec, Dr. Vaughan Lewis, Chief Executive Officer, has indicated to me that they're working feverishly, they're working urgently and with focus, great focus, to get the electricity back in certain places tonight, important institutions like the hospital. And those areas where the lines are not down. But as you know, and as you have seen in some videos, the lines, a lot of lines are down. Trees have fallen on lines, and you have to put back the lines. Vinlec has a good crew, they have good leadership, they have resources at hand, and I have all confidence that they will get back to normalcy as quickly as possible. In relation to the water, Mr. Kwao, the head of the Water Authority, the Chief Executive Officer, has indicated to me that tomorrow the few areas which are without water, they will have back the water. They'll put the systems, correct the whatever problems exist. Of course, another weather system is coming behind this one, and all that is the work I'm talking about is contingent as to whether that develops or not into a full and dangerous system. All indications that it will not be of a kind, of a nature like Hurricane Beryl. Already governments from across the region have been expressing solidarity, and in one case, the president of Guyana has indicated that he will send some supplies which are necessary immediately for doing some reconstruction, especially in relation to housing. And there are a lot of trees which have fallen. We have to get them out of the way. We haven't gotten yet the assessment on agriculture or animal husbandry, or what is happening to the fishing facilities, and those will come. That's why I say that tonight we are addressing the matters in a provisional sense. Despite the destruction, despite the extraordinary devastation, for instance, in Union Island, and we expect that Myro and Canawan would not be far behind in terms of the extent of damage. And we still have to thank Almighty God for all His blessings. There's one reported death. It appears as though overwhelmingly our people have responded and reacted in a very responsible manner. Of course, there are odd cases where you would have preferred if some persons didn't act the way they acted. But I want to ask everybody this evening, even after 8 o'clock, when I expect the meteorological services to discontinue the tropical storm warning, because Beryl is some 200 miles out to the west of us. That even though tropical warning will be discontinued. Tropical storm warning. We have a lot of debris around, and there's still some high wind, and you have to be careful, particularly in the darkness, where you're going. Let's just stay inside. It's not, we have endured today. It was very bad. We can endure the night. And tomorrow we get up, and we get up with the conviction and the commitment to rebuild our individual lives and our families' lives, and to rebuild our country, to recover. The government has some resources in the contingency fund, which, you know that fund which we had established with a 1 percentage point on the value-added tax on the VAT, which we put aside for the rainy day. We used some of it during the time of COVID. We used some in the time of the volcanic eruptions. And since the volcanic eruptions, and we have used monies there, we have built up quite a tidy nest egg. Well, the rainy day has come, and we have to use some of that money, or indeed all of it. It's not going to be sufficient. So we have to raise other monies. Unfortunately, the way the world is, there are very few countries or institutions which will give you grants. The grants come, they're really small. So we'll have to borrow some money. Of course, we will borrow on very concessional terms. The only problem when you do that is that often there are delays. You're put through the ringer, metaphorically. I'm giving our people a clear idea as to how we have to proceed, how we are going ahead. But I think together we're going to be able to pull through, get over this, rebuild, and continue in a path of sustainable development. We don't know yet the number of houses which have been damaged or destroyed, but the information which is coming in, the number is in the hundreds. Camilo told me, for instance, in just one small area in Glen, which borders between himself and Curtis King's constituency, West St. George, there are 28 families there who are homeless tonight. Just one small area. We have to make arrangements for the housing of these persons and such persons across the country. And as I say, there are hundreds of families who are adversely affected. This is a difficult time, but we have to maintain a patience and a calm, and we have to have a good humor. We are a resilient people, and I'm sure that we will roll up our shirt sleeves, and the women also have shirt sleeves too, not just the men. Metaphoric shirt sleeves in any case. I've got to get to work. So today has been a rough day. It has been a day of much devastation. It is a day, however, that we must thank Almighty God that we haven't had any significant loss of life. I said there's one reported, but I don't know about it. There may well be others. I want to thank all the persons who have been involved. In Nemo, I left the office there just now, and the whole place is full with people working on one matter or the other, trying supplies for the shelters, dealing with this or that problem, tabulating information which comes in relation to damage to the houses and what's happening with water here or electricity there, what is happening with the sea surges, all of these things. Now, in respect of the sea surges, the marine notices are still in place. Stay away from the sea until you get it quickly, until you have it clear. I spoke to Billy Jeffers, the head of the meteorological services, just a few minutes ago before I came on the air, and he told me that he anticipates that sometime in the morning that matters should be sufficiently clear on the seas for persons who want to go down to the southern Grenadines. He will make the judgment call on that. That's a technical matter. But I wanted to give some indication so that people can be prepared. But don't go until you hear officially from the authorities. But even so, the waters are going to be very choppy. I'm going to see what transportation is possible for me to get to Union and Canawan and Myro in the shortest possible time. The airport is not going to be open tomorrow. Argyle International Airport is not going to be open tomorrow because there's been some damage to the fence on the northern side, and they have some cleaning up to do. But they will be receiving any aircraft which wants to bring any particular emergency supplies. Hopefully, we will be back in business at the airport Wednesday afternoon, Thursday. Again, the airport authorities will indicate, but definitely the airport will not be open tomorrow. So that's where we are. I spoke to you about the airlines. I spoke to you about the seas. Spoke to you about water, about electricity, about housing, about government buildings, the extent of loss of life. I've spoken to you about the devastation in Union Island, the work which I've been doing, contacting various governments today, and of course the meeting which we're going to hold tonight for action and the opening tomorrow, with the caveat that, look, I don't want you to be able to come to work and say, well, you know, Ralph has given me the out, that if I don't come, it's no big thing. Well, it's a big thing because you have to know if it's okay for you to come to work. I want something to be triggered in you. Yes, this is my country, I have to go there and play my part from very early. Everybody has to put his or her own shoulder to the wheel. But I understand perfectly if your housing situation is such, or your domestic circumstances make it very difficult for you to come to work tomorrow. I want us to recover together. I want us to have solidarity with one another. I want us to show love for one another. Build it together. This is what I'm asking for. And I'll tell you, I want I want you in your communities. Forget the little bickering about this or that. Let's get together and work. Let us do things together for the upliftment of yourself, your families, your communities, and our country. I don't know if there is any other matter to address, save and except to thank the private sector for cooperating with us thus far, and tomorrow to continue to cooperate with us and as we go along. For all the persons who work, I mean, here at 705 under very difficult circumstances, we have a number of persons who slept through the whole, who worked through the whole period there. They have gone home, trying to keep the communications going with the population, even when things are other than outside of their control, and the communication went down, not because of them. I'm thinking about the Finlec workers, the work which they're doing now, and the workers at the Water Authority, everybody and all those who in the shelters, just spare a thought for the managers of the shelters, the people who go to the shelters to work. They have families. They're doing this thing not for any money. I want people to appreciate this. These are remarkable individuals, and I want to thank all of them. If I've left out any category, you know, I'm sorry. They have the nurses, the doctors who have been doing yeoman work, everybody.
Okay, folks, that is Ralph Gonsalves of St. Vincent and the Grenadines addressing his people. That is a very emotional, solemn Ralph Gonsalves, Dr. Ralph Gonsalves, Prime Minister of St. Vincent and the Grenadines. You could have heard the hurt and the pain in his voice as he addressed the nation, folks in Vincent and the Grenadines. It is badly damaged. Grenada and the small islands are badly damaged. And their families tonight, hundreds, thousands of families tonight in the region who are homeless, who have lost basically everything. They are farmers who have lost their crops. They are fishermen or fisher folks who have lost their vessels. Whether it is in Barbados, St. Lucia, St. Vincent and the Grenadines, or Grenada and Carriacou and the small islands. Tonight, a nation is hurting, a people devastated by the first major hurricane for this season, Hurricane Beryl. Beryl. There is a former Prime Minister, Alan Chastney, who once said, in times of crisis, leadership matters. I quote, in times of crisis, leadership matters. At this moment in time, leadership matters. We saw, friends, an emotional Prime Minister of St. Vincent, Ralph Gonsalves, who invoked the name of God several times in his speech. One, a leader who is not sure of the full extent of damage in his country. A leader who might wake up tomorrow to the sad news, God forbid, that many Vincentians lost their lives as a result of this deadly storm. The next few hours will be crucial for many families, and even more crucial for families in the diaspora who might be wondering, where is my loved one? Where is my family? Where is my mother? Where is my son, my daughter, my aunt? In times of crisis, leadership matters, friends. Kudos to Ralph Gonsalves for opening his shelter in time and on time, so that he could have removed those vulnerable people from low-lying areas, those whose homes was not suitable. Thanks to Ralph Gonsalves of St. Vincent and the Grenadines. For in a great time of crisis, his leadership spoke. Ralph Gonsalves is trying to head over to the smaller islands of St. Vincent so that he can have a first-hand look for himself. Again, leadership matters. To the Vincentian people, you are in our prayer. To our Grenadian brothers and sisters, we are with you, together with you. By God's grace, you will get over it. To our brothers and sisters in St. Lucia, you too are in our prayer. In times of crisis, friends, leadership matters. Islands on the Grenadines have been totally devastated, friends, flattened. In Carriacou, within minutes, there were great crises. Loss of properties and assets. In Barbados, the fisher folks are at loss. Vessels were destroyed. Homes were destroyed. Livestock were killed. Farmers were impacted. A region in crisis. Leadership matters, again, friends. I want to point out something that Ralph Gonsalves brought to our attention as a people, and that is Ralph Gonsalves, throughout the years, had a system of savings for situations like these. Ralph Gonsalves, on behalf of the citizens of his country, saved 1% on value-added tax for the people of St. Vincent and the Grenadines. I pause. This is genius. Now, I am not a Ralph Gonsalves fan, but when governments do what is right, we applaud them and we stand by them. Tonight, I stand by Ralph Gonsalves on behalf of the citizens of the country. 1% savings on VAT for emergencies like these. Ralph Gonzalez indicated that he has saved a lot for the people. And still, he will have to find other monies based on the extent of the damage in his country. He indicated to us that governments and organizations no longer want to give grants. We have a problem, financial problem looming in these small developing states. And so the debt burden will be great. We look forward to hearing from the St. Lucia government on a way forward for the citizens of that country. Let us go over now to our WhatsApp feed so that we can, and I just want to welcome our friend Baptiste, who is viewing from Wales. I believe that is in the UK. Greetings to you and welcome to the platform. And to all those who are joining us at this time, thank you for being here with us. Some of our viewers have been knocked out. There is no power in their community, and so they would not be able to join us tonight, but we wish them the best. Let's see if we can get over to our WhatsApp feed. Folks, the numbers are open. I would like to hear from you in sympathy. Thank you, Lucia, for those stars in supporting the program. Very important. Thank you for your support. Alice Gibson in Grenada, how are you doing? We want to know how are you doing. We just have our first Grenadian on tonight. What did the weather do to you? Let us know. Folks, the number that will get you online, it would be 929-586-1821. I really want us to come together and send wishes to the people of the region. You can call at 929-586-1821. You can send any updates to us at 929 or at 929. Thank you, my friend Lisa. 929-586-1821. Any information that you'll want us to read on the air, we welcome it. And you can also just pin something under the live. But we'll want to hear from all of our listeners tonight on this monster disaster in the country, in the nation. So we have Anthony over there who is saying, I applaud the leader of St. Vincent for appealing to the citizens to come together to start rebuilding tomorrow. And that is so true, Anthony. Prime Minister Rav did not put politics in it. He did not give jab at the opposition. He did not even hint anything about politics. He is asking the nation to come together and let's get this done. Let's rebuild our country. Let's rebuild the nation. And that is, my friend, what you call seasoned leadership, level-headed leadership. So we do stand with Ralph Gonsalves as he make an attempt to rebuild the nation. And when I say the nation, friends, we have families who have lost their homes, and those homes will have to be rebuilt. Farms have been destroyed, livelihoods. Friends, it's just a lot of stuff that these government leaders, some of them have not had rest, like Ralph and Prime Minister Mitchell over there in St. Vincent, and the Grenadines have not really gotten any rest. He have been up with his press secretary and his team all night from the time the announcement was made. He's out there doing his best, to ensure that the people know that he's with them. And the Prime Minister Deacon I have great regards for him right now. And last night, during this weather, this hurricane, he proved himself to be a leader. I'm not saying he's perfect or I support him with his politics, but he proved himself. All that needed to be done was done in preparation, as far as I'm concerned, for this disaster. And there will always be, you should have. In his case, friends, I say good job to him. So let's go over to our platform. Let's go over to St. Lucia. There is something going on in St. Lucia there that I'm not comfortable with. And the truth is, let me confess to you, St. Lucians, I'm very upset with you guys. Very upset and concerned at this time. Very much so. We have looting. We have individuals out there going out to add more insult to injury, either shooting each other, fighting in the streets. Carnival was still allowed to go on, even during preparation, while law enforcement is getting their act together to secure the nation. Carnival was allowed to go on. Young ladies in the streets fighting each other. People are raiding gas stations and people's businesses. I am not happy at all with the behavior of our people. I am not happy one bit. Let me just control myself. Let's go over, friends, to a situation that has developed there in St. Lucia. So, you see people with 2 bottles, gas tanks all over the place, just walking like it is, like they have a gas station, like they're selling gas. All these young boys. And let's hope that these guys are helping the owner, that they're pulling it together for him. Let's just hope that we are just judging, we just jump into conclusions. Let us, friends, hope that this is not what is happening here. Folks, this is St. Lucia. This is a cemetery. This look like soufre. Folks, that is, we will get back to our feed, but very sad moment indeed. This is the soufre. I believe I was alerted that this is the Soufrière Cemetery that got flooded earlier today. Let's go back over to our feed here. Let's play this again. We have thousands of pictures, friends, that came into our system. We will play as much. We'll go through as much as them. Please share the live and tag a friend. This is the Soufrière Cemetery. Flooded out. Mm, mm, mm. Let's keep going through. You will be seeing our live. This is my concern. These are young men. Right, let's go over. We have a number of images that we got to go through. Just bear with me. Let's get them open one by one. This is from St. Vincent, photos from St. Vincent and the Grenadines, folks. This is Union Island in St. Vincent and the Grenadines. I believe this is the airport. You can see the destruction, friends, of the homes on the hill. This is a small island over there in the Grenadines of St. Vincent. Look at the condition of the roof. Look at the homes. None of them are livable. Not one of them. This looked like the tower control tower. We're going to laser in on it so you can see it. Sometimes some of these infrastructures have been crumbling for a while, and sometimes they're being ignored by the leaders. We are still in Union Island of St. Vincent. You can see here this roof. This is the impact, my friends, of the hurricane. Do you see this? Completely destroyed. Bear with me, folks. I'm doing my best just to... I know some of you have seen some of these, but I'm bringing them closer to you, lasering in on them so that you can see them. You're on the Caribbean American News media platform. This is a home there. This thing was ripped apart. Now think about the shelters being closed in this community. Think about it, friends. How can you survive this one? Look at this. The windows were removed from their places. Did you see that? Windows are gone. This is in St. Vincent. I bring it closer so you can see. This is no game, folks. Look. Gone completely. Think about a family. And here is, yes, we are still in St. Vincent. Here is a vessel, turned upside down. If you look on the hill there, friends, there is not one house with a roof. You see over there? There is not one house standing with a roof. Not one. Here is a boat. We continue, friends, bringing to you. Here is another part of the Grenadines Union. Yes, the wave got the best of that ship, that yacht. Here's another situation here. Let's see if we can zoom in for the viewers. This boat ripped apart in pieces. You can see the engine at the back. Yes, completely destroyed. All right, let's go over to see. We might have more images coming to you. Bear with me, folks. Let's go over to Timothy and see what is happening over on his side. Folks, a lawless generation. I'm going to play this again. This is in Soufrière. The Pito is behind, and the people of Soufrière are just helping themselves. Helping themselves with the people's gas tank. So here is a business that will be out of a gas tank. Or out of business. Just bear with me, folks. I have some stuff from Caribbean American News platform. I believe this is still in Soufrière. Somebody said the Prime Minister is addressing the nation. Let's see. Let's see here. We're hearing that the government is addressing the nation. Let's see here. Okay, so let me bring this back to us, and we will get back over as folks send over those things to us. Let's see here. Prime Minister, let's go to the Prime Minister of St. Lucia for a minute so that we can hear what he's saying to us. All right, so we go over to Prime Minister of St. Lucia. That is Philip J. Pear. Okay, so let's just pull that into our system. Good, just got in. Okay, we're going to run it in a minute. Thank you for being here with us, friends. You don't have to go and listen to his speech. You're going to get it right here. All right? You are going to get everything right here. This is Caribbean American News platform, and we can find you. It's not a problem. So, Prime Minister, address to the nation. Let's pull him up and let him go. Just bear with us, folks. Bear with us.
Ladies and gentlemen, good evening. Allow me to update you on the weather situation in our country due to the passage of Hurricane Beryl. I have been informed by the Lucia Met Office that at 8 p.m. today, the tropical storm warning for St. Lucia was discontinued. When Beryl first approached St. Lucia, it was a Category 4 hurricane. Over the last 24 hours, we have endured the effects of a downgraded system which still brought strong winds and torrential rains with the resultant flooding, land slippage, and property destruction. This system could have been even more severe on our country, but we were spared this time from possible disaster. Parliamentary reps and the 18 district disaster management committees are actively gathering and relaying information from various constituencies to the National Emergency Operations Center. This data is being collated and evaluated by NEMO for a preliminary assessment of the extent of damage across the island. There are reports of fallen trees, blocked roadways and waterways, outages in water, power and telecommunication services, and widespread damage to banana farms. There is significant damage at the Soufre waterfront and cemetery area, flooding in Labrie, particularly at the crossover park and waterfront areas, and the Viewfort police jetty has been completely destroyed. In the north of the island, there has been landslides and loss of homes in the hospital and Fuasho areas. There has been reports of damaged roofs island-wide and displacements of families in Ansari and Canaries. Please be advised that these are only preliminary assessments by first responders who will report in 48 hours to the National Emergency Operations Center. Meanwhile, from this evening, response crews are on the ground clearing fallen trees, debris, and clogged waterways to allow for ease of movement. Reports reaching us indicated that our sister islands of Grenada, Peter Martinique, Cairo, and St. Vincent and the Grenadines experienced serious damage, and the task of rebuilding will be challenging. We call on all St. Lucians to join when asked to assist the people of these countries in whatever way possible. The government of St. Lucia stands ready to assist our fellow CARICOM neighbors. Our collective thoughts and prayers go out to our brothers and sisters at this time. As of 8 p.m. today, I issued an all clear for utility companies to begin the assessment and repairs. The all clear for the rest of the country will be at 5 a.m. tomorrow, Tuesday. Schools will reopen on Wednesday, 3rd July. Businesses and government offices are expected to reopen tomorrow, Tuesday. The Ministry of Education will release the CPEA results on Wednesday. I've instructed that the Ministry of Infrastructure conduct an island-wide assessment of damage to national infrastructure and report to me in 7 days so that the rebuilding efforts can commence. Let us thank God that our country was spared the worst of what could have been a disastrous weather event. I implore you to continue to remain in a state of preparedness, as this is only the beginning of an active hurricane season. My gratitude goes out to the volunteers, first responders, NEMO, the St. Lucia Met Office, and the various state agencies who continue to work throughout the day and night to secure our country. Let us remain vigilant and united as we commence our recovery. May God bless St. Lucia. I thank you.
That was Prime Minister of St. Lucia, the Honorable, that is Philip Pear, and he is announcing that the curfew has been lifted so that utility workers can go out and they can start the cleanup process. He also indicated that businesses, government services will be open tomorrow, and schools will be open on Wednesday. Now, he said that there were a preliminary assessment, and the full assessment will be done so that they can figure out what is going on in the country and the cost of those repairs. He also indicated that there's a problem in Soufrière at the cemetery, and that there are a lot of there are many homes that have lost their roofs, have been impacted by the hurricane. And also he spoke of the jetty at the Marine unit in Vieux-Fort that was also destroyed. And so, friends, that's the Prime Minister of St. Lucia addressing his people there in the country. School will be open on Wednesday, and I paused on Wednesday because there are schools that were destroyed and would need urgent attention. There are schools that I am sure would have been flooded and would need to be cleaned up. So PAIR is hoping by tomorrow all those cleanups and repairs would have been done on the schools, and that they would be ready for Wednesday for school. Keep in mind that there are many families who have lost their roofs, and some of them have lost their homes, and it will be very difficult for those children to get to school for Wednesday. In my estimation, I would have wait for the overall inspection and assessment of the area, and then I would have opened the schools on Monday. I would have given time for cleanup, for neighbors to help each other, for the community to help in the cleanup of the schools in preparation for the opening of schools. All right? But Mr. Prime Minister knows what he's doing, I'm sure, and so he would have been advised by individuals on the ground who understand, who sees firsthand what is happening in the country. Let's go over again to our WhatsApp feed and see if there is anything new coming in to that platform. All right, bear with us, folks. You're on to Caribbean American News Media Platform. Cleo is saying that schools are due to close on Friday for summer holidays. So schools are closed on Friday for summer holidays, and we're going to open on Wednesday so that they can go to school for 2 days. I would have taken that time to just clean up the schools and secure the roofs and everything else, but to each its own. But the country is basically open tomorrow for business. So I'm just going through to see, but I'm concerned about this whole gas tank situation where we have individuals just grabbing gas tanks and, moving along with them like ain't nothing going on. They're mine, What can I say, folks? What can I say? So what I'm doing is that we're looking around to see if we have anything that we miss on the platform. And remember, our phone lines are open, folks. 929-586-18 929-586-1821. Let us know how you guys made it through the storm. But we stand with the people of Grenada. What we can do, let us see if our Grenadian Prime Minister, I have not played Motley from Barbados as yet. Huh? Okay, we have something just came out. Okay, so we have, bear with me, folks. Someone just donated 2 boxes of adult Pampers for our relief efforts. Thank you so much. I'm going to document that right away. Thank you, my friend. 2 boxes of adult diapers. All right, so that's a donation. I have 2 more set of donations that I got to collect in Brooklyn. A matter of fact, 3 more. Just let me document it. Okay, good. So we have a number of adult Pampers coming in to Caribbean American News platform, and we also have some on hand. We will be making them available to the Caribbean, the people down there in the region. So those of you who have Pampers, you have supplies that you would want to get over to those countries, let us know. We will put them together. Okay, we have this individual. Lisa is saying I'm going to log off now. That's okay, Lisa. Thank you so much for being here with us. It's been, I know, taxing for you. Your family, they're safe. That is good. Thank you so much. So her family is safe, and she's going to be logging out now. Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you very much. We really appreciate the contribution there, and we're happy to know that your families are safe in Grenada. All right, so we have a number of supplies coming in of Pampers, and that is for the adults who might be in their private homes, or maybe they're at some facility. All right, let's see here. Lisa. Okay, so my friend is saying, okay, we will chat. Thank you. She said, keep up the good work, and one of these days we'll have a conversation. Thank you. That is okay. Why she prefer her friend? Okay, good. It's okay, and I support you. On supporting your friend over there. Thank you so much. All right, so let's go back over to our different platforms so we can read your comments. Over Stephen is saying on our YouTube channel, just close the schools. It don't make sense. Just close the school. It don't make sense to open on Wednesday to close on. All right, so we have something here. Okay, so we have a confirmation here from someone who might be in the know concerning the picture that we showed earlier with the tanks of gas that are being that was being removed there in Soufrière. And I quote, "The gas tank is a result of the gas station that got damaged in Soufrière, and they were floating in the streets. I assume they were saving them for the owner. Otherwise, they would have backed into the sea." So let us go over back to that YouTube channel to confirm what the brother is saying. Yes, he's saying that the gas station was damaged in Soufrière, and the tanks were floating around, and so the individuals might have been putting those things together for the owners. So let us go back to that image there in Soufrière, and we're going to do some investigations right now. That's how we do it here on Caribbean American News platform. So let's see here. So this look like yes, it looked like they're bringing. This one is going, this one is bringing. There's already 1, 2, 3, 4 here. It looked like they're saving those gas tanks. In this photograph, we see them saving the gas tank. These young men look like they're helping. They're saving the tanks, all right? There is one over there. These young men are saving the tanks. Let's go over to another one where we might see something totally different. And we showed it earlier on the platform, but let's see if we can find it, where we had some young ladies. Look. Okay, so we're hearing that Prime Minister Mitchell is on air, updating his people. We're going to pull Mr. Mitchell's feed over to us here on Caribbean American News platform. So we go to GIS Grenada. Prime Minister Mitchell, let's go to GIS Grenada. I'm going to be bringing it over to us soon. Yes, it looks like Mr. Mitchell is live, and we're going to bring him on right now. Just bear with us. We're going to bring over Prime Minister, my favorite Prime Minister for this week. My favorite Prime Minister for this week, Mr. Mitchell. Yes. Let's go over to Mr. Mitchell now in Grenada as he updates the citizens of his country. We're going to pull that link right in now. Yes, so we are coming in to the main board with his address to the nation. And here we go. Bear with us, folks. It's a lot of work. It's a lot of work. Yes. It's a lot of work. Thank you so much. Here is, and this press secretary, she is something else. Over to Grenada.
Online yet? Kenroy? Can you hear us?
She has not.
Yes, I'm here.
Okay.
Can you hear me clearly?
Yes, Kenroy. So Prime Minister is taking a call with Mr. Clement. So if you have any other questions for anyone who presented this evening, you can proceed.
Okay, so you hear me clearly at the moment, Press Secretary, correct?
Go ahead, Kenroy.
Okay, thank you. Right, my apologies. So I have a question for Dr. Walters. I have 3 questions, one for Dr. Walters, one for Tanya Hyacinth, and one for Cassia Johnson. I know Dr. Walters mentioned preliminarily, of course, there's widespread damage on the sister isles, but I want to get a sense, when you say preliminarily, are you able to speak to the condition of the Princess Royal Hospital in Bel Air at this time?
Thank you. I'm not able to speak to the condition of the hospital. We had a health representative, and they have said that they were not able to speak to the health sector in Carriacou at this time. And additionally, what we're saying is that because the communications with Carriacou and Petit Martinique was cut off at some point during the hurricane. All right, we have not been able to get any confirmed assessment of those facilities. And again, the all clear was issued tonight, so we were not able to travel up to Carriacou to ascertain what has happened. So that will be done at the earliest convenient time, beginning tomorrow.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Walters. I have a question for Tonya Hysent.
Go ahead, Tonya. Kenroy. Tonya is listening.
Yes, a question for Tonya Hysent. For how long will residents be allowed to remain in shelters?
Okay, so for now we are asking that they remain in shelters until the damage assessment has met and has been conducted, and then after we have to remember that after the all clear is given, that is really for first responders to be on the ground to assess what is happening before we give clearance to shelterees to permission to leave the shelter so that they can then do their own assessments. But once all of that is done, they will be advised as to the next steps. So for now, we're asking that they remain in shelters for their safety.
Thank you, Kenroy. Your next question? Kenroy, do you have another question?
Yes. Thank you. And I have one other question. This one is for Cassia Johnson.
Proceed.
One other question. This one is for Cassia Johnson. Can you hear me clearly?
Yes.
I have a bit of challenge on my end.
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay. So your question is, what's the weather forecast for the next 24 hours? Of course, you mentioned there is still waterlogged soil, you say, and no doubt there's a lot of loose debris strewn across the nation at the moment. What is going to be the forecast for the next 24 hours?
Well, for the next 24 hours, we're expecting partly cloudy to cloudy conditions. Just give me a minute. Let me just get it right here in front of me so I can give you the latest update we have from the Met Office. Partly cloudy to cloudy conditions and windy with few brief isolated showers and a low chance of thunder. Even though the system has moved towards the west, we still could experience some thunderstorms from the outer bands and cloudiness behind that system. There's a medium chance of landslides in areas so prone and a low chance of flooding, as any rainfall can cause flooding right about now as the soil is already waterlogged, as you said. Winds easterly to southeasterly at 12 to 22 miles per hour, gusting higher at times as we're right on the edge of that hurricane. Seas are expected to be rough to very rough, with waves up to 15 feet in easterly swells, and there is a marine advisory which remains in effect. Seas are expected to be more so rough on the west coast, as that hurricane is on the western side of the island of Grenada.
Okay, thank you very much. I'll stop here for now.
Thank you, Kenroy. Dr. Walters, any final word you want to just wrap up, and you want to give some more tips to staying safe, because we still, like everyone keeps reiterating, we're still not out of the clear. There still might be something in the air, or thunderstorms, and some people are still at the shelter. So give us some tips how to stay safe. And I know there was the gastro. I know you can't speak to the health issue, but just give us some tips about how to stay safe in the shelters and continue to protect our families.
I'm happy you raised the issue about the water, and I ask residents, the gastro, right? And I ask residents to be careful because the water has been turned off, and you'll be using water that you may have stored or bottled water. And so we ask you, if you can, to boil the water, ensure that you boil the water before, or use some other method to purify the water so that you can reduce the risk of disease. Now, the shelters continue to be opened, and we anticipate that the shelters will remain open for a few days. So those persons whose homes have not been damaged or destroyed will return to their homes. So because I mean, your home is where you belong, and your home is where you want to be. So if your home has not been damaged or destroyed, you will return, and even if you got some minor damage, you try to fix, and then you will return to your home. So the shelters will remain open, and as people return to their homes, we will make decisions about whether we transfer people to various shelters, because many of the shelters are schools, and we want to ensure that the Ministry of Education, they are able to use these structures as quickly as possible. So we will do what is necessary, working with the National Shelter Management Committee, to ensure that the schools are free as quickly as possible, and the other shelters, people can return to their normal life as quickly as possible. So that is the that is the intention, that people will return to their homes. And in addition, there are so many safety bits that you can observe. We have to continue to be prepared. Now we are just at the very beginning of the 2024 hurricane season, which was predicted to be a hyperactive season. Now we have seen Hurricane Beryl. That's the second one for the season. All right, the second named storm for the season. The prediction is for 20 and above named storms. Okay, 20 and above. But the second one, Hurricane Beryl, impacted us here in Grenada, and we're at just the beginning of July, and we do have 5 months remaining in the 2024 hurricane season. So it's not over, not because we were impacted by this hurricane that we think, all right, it's over and we're free for the rest of the season. We have 5 months remaining, and what we are seeing is that the storms are forming at lower latitudes. So please, we urge the population to continue your preparedness. Let us all be prepared, because we are in a very active, hyperactive hurricane season, and we are hoping that we will not be impacted by any other storm or hurricane. All right, we're hoping for that, but we can be. It is not impossible for us to be impacted by another storm. So we urge you to continue to be prepared, continue to take the information that the National Disaster Management Agency will provide from time to time. Take the information seriously. Prepare your family, prepare yourselves, ensure you have a family disaster plan, a disaster supplies kit. You know where the nearest emergency shelters are. Things like that you can do as we proceed. Now we know it is time for people to, put their lives back together. Those who may have lost, lost homes, or maybe damaged homes, or lost a roof, things like that. We know it's time for people to start putting their lives back together. But it is not too early for us to emphasize that we need to continue to prepare as we go further into the 2024 Atlantic hurricane season.
Thank you, Dr. Walters. Someone is asking online about work tomorrow. Now, for the teachers and students, I don't believe you will have work or school tomorrow, because most of the schools All right, so I'll let Tanya clarify that, but I do believe most of the schools which are used as a shelter will not have schools. So Tanya will clarify that for the people who are asking online.
So currently, there will be no schools tomorrow, and no schools until further notice, as indicated. Principals should have indicated to parents via the WhatsApp chats that there are no schools until further notice, and in line with the current emergency procedures that are out. So for now, no schools until further notice.
All right, there is a journalist online. We're going to take your question. Nisha, you may proceed with your question.
Nila, I don't have any questions at this time, but I just want to commend the team for a great job done throughout the hurricane.
Thank you, Nisha. And we also want to commend all the other media houses, for their efforts in bringing our broadcast live. Thank you, everyone. I will now allow for some final closing remarks from Dr. Walters.
And thank you very much, Neela. But I want to take this time to talk about the residents who may want to cut lines, because we know that we do have a couple lines that are maybe down or broken, and you may want to or think about cutting the lines. Please, we ask, because you may want to clear a certain path and you think it's okay to cut the lines. We ask you, please, not to cut those lines, because you may just be cutting off the connection, okay, for one of our the services that we need, the internet or cable or something like that. So we ask you kindly not to cut those lines, because the service providers need to ensure that these lines are used to provide services to our homes. So please abstain from cutting those lines. Please, we ask you to kindly abstain from cutting those lines. And just to remind you that the all clear was issued tonight at 8 o'clock, and to let you know that the curfew remains in effect until tomorrow morning. Curfew remains in effect until Tuesday morning at 6:59 a.m. So tonight you should not be out, you should not be on the streets, you should not be moving around, because there is a curfew in place that continues. So I just want to remind the residents of that. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Walters. And just want to say thanks one more time. We heard some updates from our utilities, Nawasa, Grenlec. We are still awaiting more information regarding Karakou, and once we get information, we will update you, Grenada. So thank you once again, and thank you to the Met Office for staying with us for the last 48 hours in studio, in our makeshift studio right here at the NADMA headquarters. We want to thank you all again and wish you a pleasant evening. Please get some rest, and again, offer some kindness to someone who may be in need. Have a great evening.
All right, folks, that was the officials there in Grenada. And I like the, let me just speak on that. I like, hold, just bear with me. Okay, I'm trying to find my feed. Bear with me, folks. Yeah, the Grenada authorities are still running. Let's just let them run.
Participating media outlets and platforms. This is the official source for all disaster management information.
Okay, good. So that was the GIS over there in Grenada. I like the way some of you think that I'm over praising the Grenada authorities, but I am not. I like the way they communicated with the citizens of their country. Now, this is the first time that the Prime Minister was not there. He's always there. And his press secretary, I observed, she have been there from day one in that room and have not left. She's in the same jacket. She has not left that place. She stayed in with the Prime Minister of the country, and she provided leadership that lady, I will find her. I would try to reach out to her. But the press secretary of the Grenada Prime Minister, I believe that she should be applauded, awarded, together with all the other workers. I like the whole idea where they were able to take questions from the journalists, and they did it through cyberspace. In other words, they allowed the journalists to be remote at their homes, at their wherever their headquarters, and they were able to interact with the officials at the main headquarters there in Grenada. And I am telling you, I am very much impressed. Very much impressed with Grenada at this time. And Grenadans, you will get through this. In times of crisis, leadership matters. You have the leadership that matters right now in this disaster. As I said to you, this is exactly what we want to see. What any citizen in any country would want to see. So, kudos to the Prime Minister and his team over there at in Grenada. All the team were together, the disaster head, the weather, the Met sister from the Met office. All those individuals, resource persons, were right there in the room, in the command center, to answer questions, to provide information to the citizens of Grenada and Carriacou. And so kudos to you. I am happy. Now let's go over to our chat room and see what is going on there. Let's see if anything new came in on our WhatsApp. Let's see if anything new. Let's see if anything new. All right, so there is nothing new over there, my people. So let's read your comments, interact for a moment, and then we'll allow you to go, folks. Get your rest. It's been a long journey. My head is pounding. It was a long journey. I've been at it from Saturday night to now, trying to be here with you to ensure that I monitor the situation so I can be aware of what I'm saying. And right now, as I said, we have our Grenadian friend Alice Gibson with us. I'm happy to see her here. It means that she is safe, that everything went well. Sharon is saying here, we have to work together. Who will help us? It's time the Caribbean come as one. Share resources and intelligence. Share. And that is a fact. We need to come together and unite in order to get this done. All right? Caribbean American News Media Platform, you're on the air, caller.
You.
Not bad at all. Thank you so much for the for assisting me in the broadcast in this season.
You're very welcome. Is the least and the most I could do given the current circumstances. Brother Garfield, thank you so much for you doing what you've done over the past few days. Nobody else saw it fitting to do the job that you did. We had a couple people on the NTN network, and we saw what was going on with that. They were failing to give any kind of, and I'm sorry, I'm criticizing here, but it's constructive. They were failing to give any kind of information that would assist anyone if they were in duress, if we did have that Category 5 hurricane hit us last night into this morning, or even today. We saw that we were not prepared in St. Lucia for any kind of a storm because the shelters were closed only one shelter was open. I think that was VG in Castries. And I'm hoping that our authorities would take note and see what Grenada, Barbados, St. Vincent, how they did what they did. They had their shelters open prior to the hurricane so people could go for shelter from their homes if they knew their homes were not safe enough. In St. Lucia, we noticed, and not only this time, the last time we had a storm, which was, I think, sometime last year, we noticed that no shelters were open prior to the hurricane or storm hitting, and that they're waiting in the middle of a hurricane. If somebody loses their roof, for them to try to make their way into the shelters. They need to take note of that, because that is very poor on our part in St. Lucia. We are not showing good leadership. We're not showing that we're ready to deal with storms or hurricanes when they hit us. We're not showing that we're ready to take care of people either. All the coastlines, from what I'm understanding, in the south of the island, got battered miserably. So Labrie, the storm surge was very high. Ansbury, Canaries, Labrie, Viewfort, Dedry, and Micoud got battered.
So
and for me to hear
did we get anything from Ancillary?
No, but I'm hearing that it was underwater.
Wow.
So given these circumstances, Brother Garfield, we should have had shelters open for these people to have made their way into shelters, because we know these are coastal villages, and then we did have storm surges, even if we did not experience a Category 5 hurricane. In essence, what I'm trying to say, but because I don't want to be on the line forever, what I'm trying to say is we need to revisit what we're doing here in St. Lucia, because like a lot of other things, we fall below the standards. We're not meeting the standards. We're not meeting the needs of the people, and we need to revisit what we're doing. So as I'm hoping the leaders of this country are hearing, and that they know that, they need to do other things. Look, Castries was flooded today, and it's a good portion of Castries. Did the Prime Minister even say that Castries was flooded? He barely spoke to us for 5 minutes and took off. There was nobody calling to say, okay, this is what happened in Ansbury, this is what happened in Canaries, this is what happened. None of that happened here today. So, in essence, we just need to revisit what we're doing in St. Lucia. And not only for hurricanes, only in a lot of other aspects as well.
But I want to join you in the call for us to review and reassess our methods in preparation for a disaster. I would recommend, I have a lot of recommendations, and when we're going to do the postmortem and we're going to review, I'm going to be very harsh, because there's a lot of stuff that urgently needs to be put in place right now. For one, we need a proper communication system to communicate with the people. I believe that we should have a command studio, where it is equipped with the proper lighting, the proper equipments, so that we can have information being disseminated to the people. We just need to, I believe we also need to build a bigger headquarters that is hurricane, that is climate resilient, that can also serve as a shelter in its area. So there you will have bunkers, you will have everything that is needed to ride out a storm, whether it's 3, 4, 5, or 6 days. Prime Minister can stay there, the commissioner, everybody. There is rooms, there is bathrooms, there is There is laundry. There is everything else that you will need, because the workers will need to rest at some point. They will need to rest. They will need to eat. They will need to drink. They will just need a place where they can pull themselves together. And I believe it is time for us to invest in a major disaster headquarters to manage the affairs of the people of St. Lucia. Go ahead, caller.
One other observation, Brother Garfield, and I know you'll be doing a post-mortem. We also need to have the radios or walkie-talkies that we used in the past, so people can Viewport can talk to Castries, can speak to Grosley, can speak to Answer Canries. So there's some sort of a network, because we can't rely on the phone networks. It's just not happening when we have a storm. We don't even have to have a Category 5 hurricane for us to lose touch with each other in an island that's 238 square miles. So I'm thinking that police stations, disaster preparedness offices in the different communities and everybody, they need to have the use of radios or walkie-talkies so that they can talk to people and see what's going on. We just need to revisit the whole disaster preparedness in St. Lucia, because if we do have a Cat 5 hurricane, Brother Garfield, we are going to have a lot of lives lost. People are going to die.
Yeah.
People are going to die, whether we like it or not.
Because you have a lot of plywood houses that are outdated and are not strong in the country too.
That's correct. And Category 5 hurricanes, that's 150 mile per hour winds.
That take those things like kites.
160 miles. That would just pick that up and take and fold it like paper and go with it.
Yeah.
I mean, if we look at some of the videos from Barbados and Grenada and St. Vincent stuff, we're seeing those roofs just rolling up and just gone. Yeah. It's just going with stuff. We saw the boats and the ships, and I mean, we saw the wreckage and we saw the mess. Look, we started this hurricane season. Was any desilting done with our rivers? Nothing was done. So we were not prepared. We had a lot of trees. There was no tree cutting from the different lines over the roadways and stuff. There was nothing of that sort was done. Nothing was cleaned up. And I'm going to say this again tonight before I leave, but there we are focusing on having jazz festivals, spending $14 million last year in a jazz festival, spending millions of dollars in a carnival, spending millions of dollars in fests and more fests, but we will not take care of this country. Let us use the taxpayers' monies to do the things that would benefit the taxpayers of this country once and for all. Let us do things, let us prioritize. When we're doing things, let us put the feds on the back burner, use less money for parties and more monies. We put more monies into the people and into the well-being of the people. One more thing, imagine sending people from hospitals to their homes to go through a storm, and they're not ready to leave yet, but they're being discharged. If we had a Cat 5 hurricane and these people fell sick at home again or something happened to them, we can't move them back to the hospital. The hospital is a better place to keep the sick. But what did we see happening? The hospital sent people home. They asked relatives to pick up their people and take them home. That should not happen, Brother Garfield. And these are the things that I'm talking about. We need to revisit a lot of things in this country. I don't want to stay for too long because I'm sure there's stuff you want to go through before you end the program. So, Brother Garfield, thank you so much for what you've done for us today. It was really good to have you, and it was really good to see that you were giving us a lot of information and stuff. We really do love you for it. Thank you so much for your time and all your effort as well.
Thank you. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. And thank you, too, for partnering with me today in getting information out to the people. Thank you so much.
All right. Have a good night, Brother Garfield. Thank
you. All right. I'm going to try to get Mr. Ellis. on the line. Let's see if we can get him. I hope that electricity is back up in the morn or in Castries on a whole.
Hey, what's up?
Yes, you're on the air. This is our expert, communication expert. Once there's a hurricane approaching, this gentleman comes to mind when it comes to the ham radio communication. Somebody asked us questions about communications and disaster readiness. And we have with us, folks, James Ellis, the expert in communication. Sir, how are you? How is things going in the country?
But Garfield, commonly known as Lionel Ellis. Not too many people know me as James.
Okay.
That's my secret name for special people.
Oh no! How did I get that? Where did I get it from? Well, I am special.
Yeah. Okay. Good. How are you?
Not bad. You came to my mind immediately when the caller mentioned that we need to have those hand radios, communication from communities to central station, and from different countries. And when we talk about Grenada disaster and communication, you came into my mind immediately, the number one man. So tell us, how is the communication going on in the country?
Well, very good. Well, first of all, we have a net which I founded about 15 years ago, called the Senior Citizen Net. It's a network of amateur radio operators that meet every day from 6 o'clock in the morning to 8 o'clock. We just got off a 24-hour watch, a hurricane watch, where we monitored the passage of Hurricane Beryl, right from the time it was thousands of miles away to as it passed through and over Carriacou. Garfield, the amateur radio is a vital and very important medium for countries throughout the Caribbean and throughout the world. As you know, when all else fails, amateur radio is there.
Yep.
But apart from amateur radio, the newer technologies like cell phones have taken precedence over the old time, as you would say, two-way radio.
Yeah.
But when you have a disaster like Beryl, or when you have a situation like Beryl, whether it's an earthquake, a hurricane, or whatever, most countries, including the big United States, have to fall back on the simple two-way radio because it's independent from all networks, like telephone networks that fail during disasters. In the Caribbean, where I have worked extensively from Bahamas right up to Guyana, almost every situation we've had, the networks, whether they call themselves bigger, better, or whatever, they have failed. In the last experience I had in the British Virgin Islands, there were 3 networks there, and they couldn't even talk to themselves. Fathers talk to somebody else.
Wow.
So that is it. But no doubt the world is bringing on newer technologies that is based on internet. Now, when you don't have internet, and I can tell you right now, even cable TV is going on internet. When you don't have internet, you have nothing.
Nothing. Yeah.
And that is the problem. So there's always a need for the backup system, whether it's for the police, whether it's for the fire department, and most of the important agencies, we seem to go with the newer technologies, but we fail to understand we cannot afford to be without communications in a disaster.
Yes, that is true.
And that's what happens when people like when ladies like Beryl and Maria and gentlemen like Hugo and Gilbert and Ivan show up in the Caribbean. You know, we find ourselves lost in the wilderness because we can't communicate.
Yep.
And unless we take this seriously and stop. Look, I can tell you now some of the installations that that are going for the police in St. Lucia are based on internet. They're internet based.
We can't do that.
But when electricity goes off, the police cannot communicate. When internet fails, the police cannot communicate. And that is sad.
So they're not into the two-way radio. They're trying. What are they moving away from two-way radio?
It is still two-way radio, but it's based on internet. And if so long as you have internet, you can communicate the length of the world on internet. But in these small islands, we cannot. We're not like the major countries that have backup systems. We cannot afford to leave out the basic two-way radio to communicate from point to point and via basic repeaters. Yeah. Not only that, we cannot afford the systems. We cannot afford the robust systems. In the Caribbean, and I can tell you because I've studied this for years, governments are spending millions of dollars trying to be like America. But they cannot afford to be.
No, you can't. No, you can't.
I would rather see them pay the policemen and the firemen and the nurses and the doctors better salaries than going to try to be like America and spend millions of dollars in communication systems to talk from Castries to Rat Island. That's how sad it is.
Yeah.
And I'm very passionate about this because the same radio in the two-way radio that talk from Castries to Guzlit, the Americans will tell you a radio that costs 10 times as much to do the same thing. But we cannot afford it. We cannot afford it in the Caribbean. I mean, look at an island like Antigua, a small island. The government spends $7 million in a communication system to talk from basically from Castries to Guzli. Because the island is a relatively small island.
Right.
And you have Anguilla, that's an island that's 3 miles by 18. 3 by 18 miles. And because the governments are going with the advice of these foreign agencies, and the foreign agencies are smart because they want to sell their their products, and they know that governments don't care. They will spend money because it's not theirs.
Yeah,
they will spend millions of dollars in equipment that they really do not need. What you need is a very basic, reliable backup system for all the agencies. We have Castries, if you thought, doesn't take $10 million in a communication system.
That's good.
In 1995, I refitted the entire police communications for under $500,000. And if you ask what the governments are spending now to talk to the same distances, they're talking about millions. Because they're trying to be like America, and America has very good salesmen. Who they listen to, they wouldn't listen to people like me. So when times like we have now where disaster comes, you'll hear the police cannot communicate, the fire department cannot communicate, NEMO cannot function because they're not spending money in the maintenance and in the right direction to make sure their systems work.
Because I would expect by now, Mr. Ellis, that NEMO would have been well organized with the two-way radio. I would have thought so.
Listen. When I left NEMO was on the verge of setting up a World Bank project. We needed a tower, the tower on the moon.
Yeah.
The tower that you see on the moon has been up there for almost 30, 40 years. It is on the verge of collapse. I have been speaking for over 5 years to get the government to spend to do that, to restore the system. But they would quicker spend millions of dollars and put it into other agencies' hands and not in Line Lilly's hands. And I don't really want to call names, but it's a point now where the country will suffer.
That's tough.
The country will suffer Nemo lost a major World Bank project just because of the politics and the change of politics and the people who not taking the communications aspect seriously for the people in Bouton and in Fort Saint Jacques and other places around Saint Lucia.
Yeah, but
you hear them cry.
Go ahead.
You'll hear them cry now because Beryl is around the corner.
Yeah.
But we had 2 or 3 years to restore the system. So I'm not going to hold back punches because I'm on my way out. I can only talk now because they don't want to listen to me. They listen to other people.
Wow. So we have the experts with us. I mean, we got to use and listen to the advice of the experts.
Yeah, well, it's not that I'm such an expert. There are many experts, but you have to know which expert you have to take advice from.
Yes, because that tower, as you said,
the problem.
That tower up the Mon, I mean, it is overdue. It's time for that thing to be updated, upgraded, or changed completely.
Yes, there's work on that, and
yes.
But they're not listening. They're not listening, and they listen to quicker people who come down from the United States and sell them a cat in a bag, and then they're stuck with it. I'm guaranteeing you. I haven't got the latest report that the police have difficulty in communicating around St. Lucia in a system that was only installed maybe a couple 2 or 3 years ago.
Well, that's a fairly new system.
They complain to me all the time because they bought the wrong system.
Wow.
They bought a system that matches what's in the States, but you cannot buy everything the United States sells.
No, you can't.
Because the United States, number one, doesn't have the terrain. They have the means of making the system robust that we cannot afford.
Yeah.
You know, it's a long story here, and I've written an article about that about 15 years ago, 10 to 15 years ago. The article was when I saw the amount of money that Grenada was spending in communications, in Antigua was spending in communications. The article is entitled, "When Will They Listen?" When will they listen?
Maybe when they're bankrupt.
You know, I have had people like the police in Turks and Caicos Islands come to me for advice. When Motorola, for example, is trying to sell them a handheld radio for $2,400 US, that the $300 Motorola radio will do the same thing.
Yeah.
Because you know, you've heard the stories. A toilet seat you can buy a toilet seat for $5,000.
Yeah. True. That is true. That is true.
And mine only cost $69 in St. Lucia.
Nah, that's right.
To do the same thing. The same thing.
That's
Garfield.
right. That's right. The same thing. Same thing.
You know?
True.
It's a fact. But the bottom line, we cannot afford it. The governments are struggling for money. We cannot afford it. But they're not listening to people like me. And I'm at the point now, you know, where I have to talk out for everybody to understand.
Yeah.
You know? And you'll hear when Beryl comes around the corner, category 4, and praise the Lord that Beryl didn't come up this way.
Yes.
Because we'd been total disaster.
Yep. That's right. Yeah, that is so true.
When you see all the networks that you know who I'm talking about failed completely.
Yeah.
When Maria passed through the islands, look what happened in Dominica.
Yeah.
We had Grenada in a mess, Dominica in a mess, BVI in a mess.
Yeah.
And these are the guys that boast every day how their networks are bigger and better. And when they come around you, they cannot talk from the top of Jeremy Street to the bottom.
Nope.
So
it's ridiculous. It's ridiculous.
But anyway, But seriously though, when I say seriously, you know me, I want the governments to understand that they cannot spend money in the wrong direction. That's why our nurses, our policemen don't have good salaries, but so long as a salesman come and sell them something for $10 million, it is not their money, they spend it. You know? And this is where the countries are going wrong. Our countries are not changing in size. You know? And I don't know when they will listen.
Well, let's hope they do.
But let me say one thing: the amateur radio community is very vibrant. We're on there every day. We're there to back up the services, and even then, when you ask the government for concessions and duty-free concessions, and they should be putting money every year. And I thought of this just today. They should be looking at calling the hams together and investing in the communities, put radios there. We train people in every department of St. Lucia because the road network is bad. We have flooding, we have landslides, we have situations where people need to get information in a timely manner, which is most important for survival. But they're not looking at that. They're not looking at that. They will buy a new computer. They will buy a new this and that.
Cell phone,
and all like today, those computers are sitting down there waiting for electricity to come back on for them to work.
And a weak internet system. But let me ask you, how can I join?
Weak internet system.
Yeah, how can I join this your group, your two-way radio group?
Well, it's a license process. There are books available for training. You can join the club. You can join a fraternity very easily. It's not hard. The requirement to become a ham radio operator is not like before. You had to know the internal network. You had to know the internal design and construction and other things of transceivers and transmitters. But today it's basically an operational tool because the technology is so sophisticated now that the average ham today, not like when I started, the average ham radio operator is not a technician, he's an operator.
Yeah.
So, and the books that you can buy, I can help you get certain books that you can do self-training and then pass a simple exam. You can then pass a simple exam and you can get your license and get your call sign.
Okay, sounds good. But
it's something that you use every day. You test your skill every day. As I said, we have a network that we speak around the Caribbean and around the world. This morning, for example, somebody in Toronto checked into my network so that they wanted to know about St. Lucia. We do more promotion. The hams do more promotion than the tourist board can ever do.
I would believe that.
And this is a fact.
Yeah.
Because we speak to people around the world every single day, all during the day and night. But the governments will not look at it seriously, supporting the ham radio fraternity. And, they have meetings today. I suppose they had meetings yesterday. How many hams were called to be part of a NEMAC meeting, for example? How many hams were invited?
Wow.
No, you have some secretariat go there and the director of NEMO that doesn't know, be from Bullfoot in communications.
I don't think there's a director of NEMO.
They appoint somebody. I don't even want to get in that because that's a sad story.
Okay.
That is NEMO needs to be looked at, and it falls under the Prime Minister office. But I think that's as they say. Let me put a little humor into it.
Got it.
If you had to give the agencies an injection, you'd have to give it to NEMO. Because that's where the last thought is coming from.
Yeah.
But seriously though, NEMO is a framework of many agencies. It's not just a building in a corner. It's about the fire, the police, and the water authority, and all of that together. But if you check, talking about water authority, everybody has gone to cell phones. And therefore, when you have a serious disaster in the Caribbean, none of the agencies can work.
Yep, it's a dead story.
You know? So we have to reel and come again,
Yes, we are.
We have to reel and come again.
By the way, I want to have an entire program on radio frequency in St. Lucia one of these days, on licensing and the failures, especially in St. Lucia when it comes to radio licensing and those who have the license already. You know, regulations and all those things.
Well, I was, as you know, I was chairman of the NTRC.
Yeah.
And by the way, that's a story by itself, as you would know. But they call it the National Telecommunication Regulatory Commission.
Yeah.
And that is an agency that should be qualified to issue a license. Qualified to issue a license. It shouldn't be dependent on a minister to play politics.
That's what I'm saying. We got to
with
fix
a
that.
license.
We got to fix that. Yes.
That is something that I'd advise any future government, because what Honorable Stevenson Ging did with Sky FM is a disgrace. And by the way, he called me conflict of interest.
Yeah.
But he didn't have conflict of interest when he changed from one party to the other.
Yep. Yes,
you know?
That's
but
right.
That's a story by itself that we'll have to go into detail about.
You give me a date, and then we will go. I really want to go into it. We want to educate the people of St. Lucia on this whole licensing radio frequencies in the country and who is empowered to issue those licenses and the possibility of corruption in the process.
Well, Garfield, the date is yours to give.
Okay.
I'm available to serve St. Lucia, and that's why I'm still in St. Lucia. Because a lot of people don't know I'm in St. Lucia. Every day I meet somebody, say, "You in St. Lucia?"
I don't know you in St. Lucia. I don't know you in St. Lucia. I thought you're elsewhere. You know what I'm talking about.
Yeah. But I can go on a holiday too, you know, Garfield.
I know, you have your passport. Oh, Mr. Ellis, but nice talking to you, man. I really appreciate it. You always bring some joy to my heart when I speak to you. And so,
well, you know, I was just about falling asleep, you know. I was just about closing my eyes.
I'm glad I wake you up. But Mr. Ellis,
but we were spared by Beryl, and my thoughts and my heart was in the people and friends of mine in Grenada, Carriacou, St. Vincent and Grenadines. Thank God that Beryl passed through. Although there was some damage, it could have been worse. It could have been terrible, even Tobago. And I want to say thanks to all the amateur radio operators who spend hours. I actually slept in my radio room last night.
Wow!
For the full 24 hours, because we had to stay alive and monitor and support the brothers who were under the areas to be affected. And I only came up from my room at 12 o'clock today from 6 o'clock yesterday evening.
Wow, thank you so much.
So that's how it is.
Yeah, really appreciate it. Really appreciate it.
So I need a full night's rest tonight. Take care. That's why I'm not watching your show.
Okay, so go to bed right now. Okay, thank you, sir. Thank you.
Okay, take care. All the best.
Okay, folks, that was Brother Lionel Ellis in St. Lucia. He's an expert in, don't mind him, in two-way radios and radio frequencies. I believe he was one of the directors of the NTRC, one of the main organization, government agency that issue approved license for radio stations in the country. And I want to have a conversation with him, with some of the behaviors of radio stations around the region, and also in St. Lucia and how we can improve even on the issuance of license and how we can fix it going forward instead of having one government minister with the power of a pen that can revoke a license or issue one. Got to change quickly. But folks, we want to thank you so much for being here with us. To all our viewers, I wish you guys all the best. If you're hearing me, God has been good to you. God has been extremely good to you. It is good to know that most of you were able to speak to your families. You were able to there's something I want to show you. Let's go to this clip. There's a clip that I want to show you before we leave. And I will show you what ignorance can do to a society of people that don't use their brain. So you saw that, right? Let's play it again. Folks, listen to me. I laugh at that. I laugh at it because these guys, I'm sure them fellas left their brains at home. Who would go out in high winds to rescue galvanize? Who in their right mind? The galvanize wrap around the fella. The man almost lose his neck because he want to save some galvanize. When would we start using that brain that God has given to us? Let the galvanize go. Save your life, for God's sake. The galvanize cut off his gwin or something, everybody's going to be saying something else. Family mourning, all kind of story going on. Why? Because of men. Because of men, big people, not using their brain. This is the most stupidest, if that's a word, video that I've ever seen for the season. This goes into the hall of shame and disgrace. Period. This is the worst of the worst. Them fellas, I would take them fellas and put them way back into primary school to sit down and teach them from the ABC right up to comprehension, because people just don't do that. People don't do that. Period. All right? Next thing, the families come crying. Oh, he was a good fella. No, he was a stupid fella. He was a stupid fella because you just don't put yourself in danger. You just don't. I saw a guy some guys on a boat somewhere in St. Lucia out there. What are you doing? In Dennery, I saw a guy jumping in the Daito in the rough waters. What are you doing? Kuyo Twikila. What is you doing? Who are you impressing? This is the society, friends. This is the society that we have. You know, about to show off, want to prove a point, mature, and dumb and dumber. That's what this video is all about. Dumb and dumber, stupid and stupider. Period. Where is Mia? Anyway, folks, let's continue to keep our people in prayer. Let us work together with the governments of the different countries to do our best to help volunteer to help clean up in your community. Some of you can come together as a community. Some can cook for the workers. Some can provide drinks. You can provide water. Dennery has a beautiful community spirit that I can prove. I was involved. They have a beautiful community spirit. They understand what coming together is all about. They have done it before and they can do it again. So I'm asking all community people, come together. Whether you're SLP, UWP, or no P at all, come together. Accept dumb and dumber and stupid and stupider. You don't need them fellas around you. They will get you in trouble. But I'm asking society to come together to assist in the cleaning up and the putting back together of your communities. Right now, you are needed more than ever, both in St. Vincent and the Grenadines, in Carriacou, in Grenada, in St. Lucia, in Barbados, and all the other countries that are affected. Our prayer goes out to Jamaica and those nations that are under the gun at this time. Folks, we continue to pray. There is power in prayer. And you better believe it, friends. So go to bed, folks. Remember to pray and give God thanks for protecting you and your family. You might have lost assets. You might have lost your home. You have your life. Give thanks. Give praise. You will get a bigger house. You will get a newer one. You will get better roof. You will get better, doors. You will get better windows. You will be happy in your brand new house. Every disappointment is a blessing. Maybe the house would have fallen on you anyway. So thank God that you're going to get a new house. Your life is spared. It is okay. You can replace those things. You can replace plywood, galvanize, and pots and pans, but you cannot replace your life, friends. So may God's blessings be upon every one of you. Thank you so much, friends, for being here with us tonight. I need to go and get my rest because, hello, that need to be preserved. Also, God bless you, my friends. Thank you.